Good morning, everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and called this Let's Talk Small because with me doing a little shifting here in my room, I came back across my small stamps. So I want to encourage you to revisit your stamp collections because you'll notice mine aren't as used as they should be, as old as these are. So thought I would just share the sets I have and just to kind of click in your head to think about what small stamps do you have. And then I'm going to take some just scraps of leftover painty papers and just stamp some of these out and then make them either punch them out or tear them out of the paper that I stamp on. And I want to put them like in a bag or a little box or something. So I have tiny images to pull from to work in journals this size, my little journal. So that's what I got to thinking about. I have this one that's this Tim Holtz cling stamps, and it's got all this really cool things in it. Birds on a line, a bee, just basic things that you could use as a little addition to a collage. And this one's a Hampton Art Graphic 45, the Vintage Ladies. And then this is by Fiskars, and it was called Animal Crackers, and it's just small little animals. There's a horse and a turtle, rabbit, a goat. There's just all kinds of little things. And I thought how cool it would be just to have a bin of small images to choose from. Then you get into these that are kind of square by Inka Dinka Doo. I don't know if Inka Dinka Doo is still a thing or not, but this one was called Flower Garden. This one was called Cats Galore. And this is Butterflies and Birds. And then I have this Stampendous charm collection. And again, it's just small little images that would make great little accents for something. So I'm thinking, let's stamp the Stampendous Charm Collection out, just so you get an idea. I am not going to stamp all of these out. These bags I got off Amazon, and I got these because of another lady that did a lot of stamping. Oh, what was her channel? I haven't watched her in a long time. Don't know if she's still on, but I think they're CD envelopes, and they've got a little flap. These things work perfect for your clear stamps because you can actually see the stamps. I'll show you how I store my clear stamps. I'm going to stamp those out. And I've cleaned my stamps down so they only go in this one tub. So I have a tub of clear stamps here. If I could figure out where the camera is. There we go. So this is all my clear stamps. And mostly what I kept was the small images. There's one that's all trees. And then the CC Designs, because I just love CC Designs, and I hated it when she went out of business. And I got my mushrooms in there. So this is all my clear stamps. And I'm keeping myself to just this tub only for clear stamps. Because quite frankly, I don't use them enough to justify purchasing anymore. But I wanted to keep anything that was a sentiment. And that's another thing I wanted to do, is stamp out a bunch of sentiments and have them in some kind of storage to where I could just pull a sentiment and stick it on the front of a card. If I have it pre-stamped, it makes card making really fast. Hi, Mina. Hi, Melanie. So I've got a piece. This is not craft foam. This is the foam that you get on top of some kind of fragile items that come in the mail. And I like this because it's extra cushy. So when you stamp, you get a better connection. Hi, Dar. So we're going to do this one. I'm just going to set these back in my bin. I'm going to focus on this one. I have these at the front of my bin so that I can do this some more. And we'll just grab some random painty papers. See, I've got this here. Let's move my phone. That was a drop paper. So I'm just going to go through here and get some things. Sorry, my coffee's not setting well this morning. So I'm thinking of stamping on things like this, maybe in this area. Maybe we'll do some stamping on this, just see what it turns out. This gray would be good. That's kind of loud. Look at this piece and this piece. I'm thinking a little bit lighter pieces. We won't get too hot with this hat on. I'm taking the hat off. I put the hat on to try to get my hair under control because I need a haircut. And I definitely had the easiest time. That's my little thing I made. In the 80s when it was big hair, I had big hair. I should show y'all my glamour shot. You want to see my glamour shot? You want to see some 80s big hair? They teased it up really high for my glamour shots. Wasn't that crazy how they do that? And I forgot to show you guys the other journals that we made that are 5x7. And oh, I finished my journal covers. This is a cover that's got put in here, and so is this. These need to be pulled back out and put with the journal making. That was something Mary had mailed to me, and I was going to turn it into a journal. And then this just looked cool, so I said, oh, that would make a cool journal. I'm going to put that with journal making on the other side of the room. Just grabbing some light colored things. That's probably enough to get us going because I don't want this to be a real long video. I just want to make sure I have enough variety to stamp off on. All right, that'll get us going. I can always pull out more. The big hair time. All right. Give me just a sec. I'll be right back. I want to show you a couple things before we start stamping and make a mess. All right. I'm going to give you the glamour shot to look at while I get the ooh la la. Oh, goodness. You want to see me make what, Melanie? We are actually working on a new 5x7 journal, and I did some work on it yesterday. So that was me in the 80s when I still wore makeup. And of course, they put their big clip-on earrings on you and all that rigmarole. But that was fun. That was something my sister actually gave me as a gift one year. And I'm going to move these over again. All right, so this is the autumn journal we did together several years ago. And I did get the glaze that you're supposed to put on air dry clay to keep it from cracking, to help stop the cracking that's already occurred. And I showed that the other day. And that was our autumn journal. And we also did the spring journal to where we made with craft foam, we cut windows. So this is actually a window, and the hat, I had to cut a hole for the top of the hat to pop out of See? Because I didn't make the thickness, but the first and the last, the covers are actually chunky window pages. So this is one we did together, and this one I just bound with ribbons. And we're going to do the stamping in just a sec. But I just wanted to do, so there's a window. So you don't see this window here. It's only on this side. So you can make windows, just cut out holes in your craft foam if you want a dimensional page. And then I put recycled packaging. So this is covered. So it looks like glass. You see how it's shiny there? And then I just would make this window, put the plastic down, and then do the same here, but then just mark where the window is and cut that out of paper and cover the whole thing on this side and do the same on this side. And that way you don't know that there's a window coming up because it's covered underneath the paper. And then we did a bunch of different little techniques as we went along. We did a pop-up here. See how he pops up? The bunny is on a bench and he sticks out. Follow the bunny. He has the chocolate. And I drew the bunny. I think he turned out pretty cute. And then we did film strips, faux film strips. You could do that with your stamped images. You could punch out your stamped images or cut them out so they're all the same size. I would not try to stamp on something small. I would stamp and then cut them out into a specific size that you decide on, and then mount it on black with just a little space in between, and you end up with a film strip. So more than anything, this morning is going to be ideas. All right. This is a little fold out, and I don't think I've ever put anything in it, and it just folds out. I never did go and put anything in there. And then it's got the little flap, and it's got ribbon mounted behind it so that you can make a little fold out and then tie it closed. These are old ideas. These were zines I did with Dee Dee and Janet Young. And I made a dimensional pocket with a gusset that it's got some dimension to it, just so it would hold both zines. And those slide in there. And what else do we have? Oh, this one, you cut windows in the paper you're going to put down. And then you just score it here so you can lift them open, and then you hide something inside. So if you got a prompt that said hidden, you could do little windows like this. And I think most of these were stickers or images out of a catalog. And this actually has something under it too. Bunnies dancing. Because I'm damaging these a little, I was thinking maybe I should have put a little type of tab or something to open them. And then a window at the back. And I just had a ton of these foam flowers. So I just filled the whole thing. And I think it turned out really cool. And again, that was one of those window dimensional pages that we did in 2022. And then we did a summertime. Hence, we're doing a thankfulness one now. And I'd like to do one that's for winter. This right here is made with a stamp I carved myself. And what I would do is I just put a strip of paper down and I would stamp just the heads, and then I'd move my paper down and do another row and move my paper down and do another row. So I ended up with a crowd of fibs out there. Hey, Deb. And let's see, what else have we done on here? We did the film strip thing again, where we did little quick doodles of summer items. This was done in 2021. We might end up with a whole year. This is where I tell you guys, and I learned this from Gina Ahrens, if you want to start learning color theory, cut some images out of your magazines because somebody else has already done the color development for those images in magazines and such. Pick out like 2 or 3 of them that have kind of the same colors. So you can see these, all 3 of these have the same colors in it. Go through your paints and find your paint colors that are kind of in there. And then that's what I did here. And I printed these with a piece of cardboard, I think, and just plopped it down. And then you look in your washi tape. Within the products you have, create a color theme. And then what I would suggest is you write the colors down. Like this was vivid orange, cadmium yellow, lime green, waterfront, lavender, and coral blush. Those were the color names on my paint containers. So if you want to practice that, you could do this with fabric as well for those that are quilters. If you're having trouble thinking about whether colors go together, open a magazine, cut out 3 or 4 pictures with the same colors, and it'll give you a whole plethora to choose from. And you're letting somebody else basically do the work for you, which is fine. All right, we did, in this particular one, we did a small little watercolor for each time we got together, if I remember right. So this was a little watercolor that I did, and then we picked out circles and put them down. All right, I've got an envelope. What's in the envelope? I have no clue. We did a bit of collage. July 7th supply list. 2 more prepped pages, watercolors or colored pencils to create the quote blocks, a variety of quotes about summer, 4th of July weekend, memorial, something, ephemera, stamp carving supplies to make our own stamps, and Card Peak, watercolor ATC. All right, and so this was some of the prompts and things that we did. So that's why I kept those. It's the ideas we utilized. So we did our own little quote windows and then wrote out some of them. Every summer has a story. And then this was from a magazine, images from a magazine. That was really just a collage page. So we did our own quote blocks and then stuck them in. Then we picked an image off a greeting card and tried to recreate it as our watercolor. And let's see. This was something that was on a local Free Times. It was a local magazine, and we just kind of copied it with the punched out circles and water droplets. And this was some things I was working on at the time that I had a way to print off a film strip. This was my drop paper blue lady that I'd done, and I kept her and I scanned her and I made a bunch of these up and I sent them in Happy Mail. So I'm just going to flip through here. This is me as a child in the wash tub that my grandma would put water in, and she would let me play in that. And I keep that picture on my refrigerator. Howard's knocking. Oh, come on, you're not trapped. You're fine. I want to get to stamping, but I wanted to show these to you because everybody seems to like to watch them. Now this one, I just did my little paintings. I did all of these, and then I gave them a border, and I put them down and went around them. So this one wasn't done as a film strip, but by doing the little images, which we will have little images that we're stamping out, you could do this on a page. So that's another reason. Pull those stamps out. This was 2 magazine images that I put together to create this background. We carved stamps. This was a stamp I carved here. Piper's getting herself all worked up because Howard got near her. She's Let's see here. I think this was just a little note I wrote to myself. There's my little stamp stamped off. It turned out pretty good. That's just talking about how much I enjoyed this project, blah, blah, blah. Write notes to yourself because you'll forget things. And you can see that we did a little ATC sized watercolor on each of our spreads. Again, with the little images. So this is another reason, use your little images. This was a little fairy inspired by Janet Nash. And then we did the little, we hand drew all these little flowers and then cut them out and put them on a spread and gave them stems. And this was grass that we created together by just cutting with your scissors just down part way. And then our little image for that day was a picnic basket with ants, and I drew that and painted it. And that was the end of that. And this was the other stamp that I carved, but this one I embossed with gold embossing powder. So this is what we're going to create with the covers, which I was going to show you my covers real quick. And then we're going to stamp some little images. And you can, I need to put these back where they go eventually. I'll put them over there so the cats don't get into them. All right, so now what did I do with my covers real quick? They were just right here. Oh, they are still right here. I did finish decorating my covers for the next little, this is our thankfulness journal. Let me pull the pages out because we'll work on the pages. So here's my covers. And I don't know if you can see, but I did the black line around everything. See how I did that black line? And then inside it, in that little space I left, I did white dots all the way around. And then I did outline each one of these petals with my gold gel pen. And then in the background, I did just gold swirls on the brown paper. And today I'm going to, when it gets a little warmer, I'm going to cover these in a gloss, the gloss Delta Art clear coat type stuff, and set them outside to dry. And then next time we get together, we'll do something on our inside covers to cover these up. Oh my goodness, Howard. So I can set this aside and we'll work on that another day. But let's stamp some of our images up. So I've got my piece of squishy foam. I've got a clear block. This is my Aunt Beck's Creation stamp that Mary Hill gave me years and years and years ago. So we'll just pick a piece of this paper. And I want to stamp these out, but leave enough room so that they could be cut out as squares or punched out as something, you know. I am not going to do more than one stamp at a time because if I put a bunch of these down and I tried to ink over them all, and then by the time I got to turning it to stamp it, the ink would have dried up and it's not going to stamp. The ink doesn't stay wet long enough to do multiple stamps. These do kind of stick in these envelopes, especially when they haven't been pulled out in a while. But these are cool. These are the Stempendous Charm Collection. I wish my thing wasn't so dirty. And I'm going to just kind of center it on an X. Let's do the chair. And I'm going to try the Memento first. And I want just a piece of plain paper. I'll just do it on my folder real quick. Because these haven't been used. I want to like stamp off the first one on something I don't want to keep. All right, so now I'm just going to stamp these out. And when you put foam underneath, the stamping comes out so much clearer. So there's my little chair. Might do another chair. Come over a ways so I could still cut this out in a square. That one's a little paler. And no, I'm not gonna wash them. I'm bad. What else do we want to do? Let's do the butterfly. Put that kind of on the X so I can kind of line things up. Yep, Mina got one of my blue ladies. Even if the images don't come out perfect, you can still use them for something. That foam is the key. The foam really is the key to getting a good stamped image. And you don't have to buy anything. Just wait for something to come in the mail that has this foam in it. If you order anything fragile, you'll end up getting a piece of foam like this. And this works better than craft foam. All right. Then I've got a little bird here. I think he's wearing a crown. You can tell I've never used these. They're still sticky real good. And I know Leanna will be on shortly if she's not on already. I'm going to put the birdie down here. She's not on yet. Okay. This would be good on a card. It's like script. Let's do this one real quick. I'm getting cat hair in my ink pad. Imagine that. Jeez. At I think it's 8:30 or 8 or 9 my time. Katinka. She's the seamstress at the cottage. She's doing an hour-long, like, sew-along. So I just been joining her yesterday. Oh, it's upside down because it's got like a script and a postal little mark. It's a really cool little stamp. Make a great accent. I should get a different piece of paper because we're going to have them all on the same one. Let's do it on here in this yellow circle. So see, it makes a cute little something, something. I want to do one more of this. And it's better to take the ink pad to the stamp than the stamp to the ink pad, I know. There we go. So you get the idea. And I'm just going to stamp a bunch of stuff up. Cut it out probably into little squares. I may punch some out with a circle punch, which I could do that real quick. Let me put the cover on the ink so it doesn't dry. Because I want to give you the full idea of what I'm doing. I just got to remember where my punches are. The circles. And I was right. Yesterday when I sneezed, I pulled muscles in my back. So this morning I'm hurting. But it is what it is. Let's see if I can do the butterfly in this circle. Perfect fit. So see, this is what I'm thinking about having just on hand to grab as a little accent. And if you do your stamping on a bunch of different papers, you'll have a lot of color choices. So that's why I like the little punches, because it makes it easier. I think I have a square too. Hang on. I think. I may be wrong. Because I can just cut squares with my cutter thing. Oh, I also have that one. Give me just a sec. And if you had some Christmas stamps and you don't, and you've got, like, I've got a punch that is a Christmas tree. I could punch them out as a Christmas tree. This one I'm going to try punching with this here. And so I put him kind of off to one side so I could write something here if I wanted to. So just punch the things out. Once you get them stamped, punch them. Or if you don't have a bunch of punches, don't limit yourself because you don't have a punch. You could still just cut out squares. See? And just have a bunch of these ready to go. I don't think the chair will fit in this small circle. It won't. So I might cut those out. Let's just cut those out with my my like rotary cutter. I just want to show you guys how to get your collection going, to have different things like this. And this uses up all those small pieces of cut off paper. And if you don't have painty paper, use your scrapbook paper. Just use what you have. That's going to be my goal the rest of the year and into next. Just use what I have. I don't need to buy anything else. I have so much stuff. I need to just use what I have. I was telling Katinka in chat yesterday that Scott has said that if anything ever happened to me, that he'd have a real hard time letting go of my things. So I need to have fewer things for him to fret over and hold on to. So my goal is to use up as much as I can so I'm not a burden after I've left. I know that's kind of grim, but it's how I feel. So see, that's ready to go. And it looks like it was, set aside just for that purpose. All right. Get these cut into little rectangles. And the image does not have to be square on your thing. In fact, if you're working on a collage piece, it's better that it's a little off. Being too matchy-matchy can be an issue. Isn't that cute just to have on hand to grab? So I'm making my own ephemera, basically, with stamps. And I know you guys have stamps you haven't used. I know you do. I know it. So pull those stamps out, stamp them out, have them ready for a project. Oh, that one must not have been totally dry, or I might have skipped a little bit, but I'm going to still use it. So there's my little chair, or my fingers are dirty, which they are. But see how cute these are when you just, and you don't have to hold on to the little teeny pieces, if you don't want to. You can like start pitching some things once you've stamped and got you some images. Let that stuff go. I might trim this one even smaller. There we go. All right, so you get the idea, I'm sure. This one could look cool. And again, if you don't want white edge to be exposed on the piece you want to keep, that's the part you want to pull toward yourself. So if you pull this way, and then we pull this way, the exposed edge of white is on the piece you've left behind, and then this is just ready to go. So that's my idea to share this morning. Make your own little ephemera. See how cute those are? Oh, Teresa, I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. I hope that the right thing is done. I mean, if she's that type of person, that's just awful to me. My heart is with you, Teresa. I'm so sorry about that. So I'm going to let you guys go because I want to watch Leanna if she comes on this morning. And I will talk to y'all later. I hope you like this idea and we'll make your own ephemera. Bye.